Your name. Where'd your name come from?
I got my name from, it was this guy, his name was Joseph Colombo. He was a politician, but he was also part of the mob too. And he was like 17. He was one of the youngest people to run the mafia. And he was building, as he was growing, he was building. And so like I was watching him as I was growing up, watching a few of his films, and I was like, you know what? I was doing music when I was young, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna build, and I'm gonna be Bossman JC. So that's how I got that name.
Now, where are you from?
Benton Harbor, Michigan.
And how far is that from like Detroit, for example?
Probably 2 hours and 45 minutes,
What's your
3 hours.
What's your opinion on the state of rap music in Michigan at this time?
It's an emergency. Like everybody just think that Detroit is like, I'm from Benton Harbor, Michigan, so everybody think that just the Detroit sound is the only people making music in Michigan, and it's not. So when I listen to a lot of Michigan music, it's like, yeah, okay, I heard that before. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of different artists that you got in Detroit, but these are the ones that everyone is listening to. But it's a lot of different people making different music throughout Michigan. So it's just stuck right there in the corner for now until we open it up.
Now, give me a tour of the town of Benton Harbor.
Yeah.
For someone that's never been there before, let's start with the food. Favorite food spot in the city?
Henry's Hamburgers.
What do you usually order?
Triple cheeseburger, brown bag, extra onions.
What about the nightlife? Favorite strip club in the city?
We don't have any strip clubs. Strip clubs aren't allowed in the county where we live at in Michigan, so we don't have strip clubs.
So if you want to go see a strip club, where do you got to go?
Well, we'll drive out to King of Diamond, and we'll go out there in Chicago and chill.
So you're closer. Your city's closer to Chicago than it is Detroit?
Yeah, I can get to Chicago in like an hour, hour and a half.
Now, what about regular nightclubs? Do you have a favorite regular nightclub in the city?
I too much don't. I too much don't party in the city. I be in the studio working a lot, and behind the scenes we be writing and we be coming up with different projects. So I too much don't be into the nightlife unless people are bringing me out or they're paying me, and then I go out and do my thing. But other than that, I don't really get into it.
Is there a nightclub you suggest people check out if they do fall through?
Oh
Benton Harbor?
yeah, no doubt. We got AJ's Lounge, yeah, right up there on Pipestone. Right up there on the stone. So yeah, if they come through, it's gonna be the livest club in the city, AJ Lounge.
Now, we talked about the food, we talked about the nightlife, or lack thereof, a little bit there. Anything else you recommend someone first time visiting Benton Harbor see, do, or visit while they're in the city?
Like yeah, when you in the city, you want to ride around. We got a lot of mom and pops gas stations that sell like CDs, local artists and indie artists and people that's trying to move their records, and even a few major mixtapes, and even yourself, you might catch one of your Southern Smokes in a gas station. You know what I mean? So I suggest that you visit all of the mom and pops gas stations, or you go out like to Henry's and you go to AJ's Lounge, because our city probably like 15 miles big, if that, probably 12 at the most. So it's not much to see. You got to drive out to Detroit or Chicago, and we like kind of in the middle.
How many people live in that town?
Oh,
15 or 12 or 15 miles isn't that big.
yeah, probably between 4,500 to 5,500 people. It can't be that many.
Now, what about the lingo? What are some terms or some phrases one might hear in the city of Benton Harbor right about now?
Oh, you're going to hear boss talk. That's my lingo. So, at the end of everything I do, it's always a hashtag boss talk, or it's always boss talk, because, I always talk in a bossly manner, and I've been holding things down since I was young with the music, and, we starting to rise. So you always going to hear boss talk. That's the lingo. That's my thing. That's, you come there, you hear somebody say boss talk, they know who you talking about off the top,
Do people, I know in Detroit people say what up though, do they still say that in your area or not really?
You probably, people got their different terminologies and things, so you probably hear it here and there. It depends on how they woke up, I guess, that day.
What about some of the Chicago lingo? Does that kind of, since you're only an hour away, does that kind of slide in there too?
Nah, that's a big That's a good question. Yeah, Chicago have slid in there all the way. Like you got your people that listen to all those Detroit artists and use their, like you said, their what up though. But you also got more of the savage act, you know, the look, you know what I'm saying, the characters. You got more of them because we're so close to Chicago. So you got more of they lingo, you know, they'll blow, you know, all that. You got more of that going on. You know, and it's all they're imitating what's going on there. So the culture has came to my city, you know what I'm saying, heavy, better than or more than Detroit, I would say.
Now, what about as far as events? Are there any events you recommend someone come visit Benton Harbor specifically for? Like, for example, in New Orleans, Mardi Gras is like a huge situation. Anything in Benton?
Oh yeah, we always have a blues fest in the summer. We always have a blues fest. So we have, you know, a couple promoters, you know, they do their thing, you know, they try to throw like their summer jam shows, but we always have a good blues fest, you know, and it's always done downtown at City Hall, you know what I'm saying, at Ben Harbor, so you could come out and enjoy that. It's always a nice show. Me and my manager went down there this year, we chilled. It was the OJs down there, and we chilled, we had a nice time, we ate dinner, and you know, the blues fest is always going on, so.
Let's talk about your upbringing. What was it like growing up in Benton Harbor for you?
Well, I never went to any Benton Harbor schools, but we lived in the middle of the ghetto. I lived at 876 East Vineyard, and like it was people getting killed on that block. It was drug dealers out every day. Like if you know Benton Harbor, then you know where I come from, you know, and everybody that know me know I come from 876 East Vineyard. So it's just was a bad area. You had the projects right up the street, you know, police everywhere, the drug rate high, you know, you got all the users breaking in houses. So I came up there, but I was, you know, I didn't go to any of the schools. My mom wouldn't let me, so I went outside to like Colombos and Lake Shores. They were more, you know, different colored people than just black.
Now, was it rough specifically for you growing up?
No, you know, I was a kid, so, you know, I had my fights and all that, but no, I didn't have a rough life like that. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, I grew up poor and, you know, we lived in the ghetto. Of course, everybody lived in the ghetto, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to sit here and say that I grew up poor and I just had this rough life. No, it was actually the ghetto. It was, you know, the little kid wearing the Michael Jordans that his mom then hustled all week for or sold her ass or whatever, laid on her back, or you know what I mean? Whatever she had to do to get the money, I was that kid still.
Now, what about school? What type of student were you in school?
I was a good athlete and I was a good student. It's just that I had turned to rap and I just had got, I guess, I felt like I could do this more than I needed the education at the time. And I was a good student, but then I had got transferred from two good schools to a Benton Harbor school where the education level was poor. And it just didn't work out for me. And once I got to Benton Harbor, I was like, you know what, this is enough of this. I'm gonna just go chase the dream that I knew about, and that's how I ended up here.
Graduated high school?
No graduated. Just dropped out, but I'm gonna go back and get all my things together. But still to this day, no.
What year did you What year did you drop out?
I dropped
10th,
out
11th, 12th?
Ninth grade.
Freshman.
Yeah, freshman.
Starting high school.
Yeah, I played basketball, and then I think I had got into a situation, and they kicked me off. They put me on the bench, and then I just said, you know what, I didn't want to be dealing with the school districts and all of that, so I just cut it and just was out of there.
If you can go back in time, would you have gone and finished your high school career, or?
That's a good question. You know what, yeah, I say that to myself all the time. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today, you know what I'm saying? So, like, no doubt, man, education is more important than a lot of things that people really think about in this world, like material and all that. That don't mean nothing. Education is the key to everything that's going on in America. So if you don't got no education and no knowledge of what's going on, you're gonna be lost anyways. So you never gonna accomplish the goals or the dreams that you're trying to because you have no common sense or knowledge of what's going on. So I tell my son and I tell all the kids and the youth that stay around me, man, stay in school, man. Go to college and get you a degree or something, because when we pick all these things like rap, football players, basketball players, anything can happen. Football player go out there, he didn't go to school, he didn't came out of college his first year, didn't get a degree, he didn't broke his knee. what he got to fall back on. So, you know, a kid drop out of school and start rapping and he don't go platinum the next day. I mean, you know, what he got to fall back on? Nothing. And in education, you can go farther with that. You just got to use it the right way.
Jobs you had growing up, if any?
I think I had one summer job. I think I was flirting with the chick and ended up getting fired from there and never worked again.
Any crazy stories dealing with that job other than getting fired?
I was in this place called Benton Harbor. It was a summer job. It was nothing but project kids that'd cuss you out all day, every day. Man, I used to get cussed out by the kids and the children, and, you know, I would say something, and the boss would tell me, you can't say that, or we're going to fire you. And then, you know, I was flirting, like I say, with one of the coworkers all the time, and, you know, I was lacking. I never wanted to work anyways. I never had to, so.
Were both parents in your life?
My real father, I got my stepfather, I call him my dad. He's like my dad. He's been there since I was 4 years old. My real father, he was he started back, he was in the war, and, you know, he was in the army and all of that, and he got addicted to crack cocaine, and he ran out like when I was like probably 4 years old, and my stepfather came in, but my mom and him, you know, they've been making sure that I was okay. And my stepfather, he played in the football movie Rudy with the Notre Dame and all that. So, you know, they made sure I was straight. He was doing Yankees magazine covers. And, you know, so I come from a nice household, but we just lived in the ghetto.
Siblings? Any siblings?
I had my sister, my oldest sister. My brother, he was a gangbanger. He was heavy in the street. So I used to see that in. My mama used to keep me away from him. But, like, really, I never really just, my sister, probably, you know, people that had nowhere to go when my mom wanted to take them in. But really, we had nobody that just lived with us but me, my mom, my stepdad, and my sister.
Any of them rap?
Nah, none of them do music.
What do your parents think of your rap career?
I guess I've heard it all. Like, I've heard it all to, you shouldn't do that, to, that's just a dream, to, it's a fantasy, to, you know, like, you know, the normal things that a parent would say, like, you should have stayed in school, this ain't what you should do. Like, I've heard it all, so. That my dad, he's with it, you know. I can drop a record, he'll listen to it, he just say, keep the profanity down. But, you know, like my mom, she still thinks it's not a reality. You know how parents is, this isn't what you should be doing, son.
Now, when it comes to your parents, in regards to them, what's the worst thing you put them through?
Oh, I was probably 17, 18, and I had got to the point to where we had moved out the hood, and I was like 17, 18, and my mom had moved us to the country, and I had got to the point to where I was trying to do rap. I had like no money for studio time, like things of those natures, no money for shoes. I'm seeing people with the flyest things, and I wouldn't listen to my mom, so she was like, I'm not gonna do nothing for you. So I had ended up saying, you know what, she ain't gonna do nothing for me. I had ended up going out and ended up with a couple friends, and we armed robbed some things, and I ended up doing a lot of jail time. She ended up getting me a good lawyer, spending like $10,000, $20,000, and we ended up fighting that and getting it turned into a larceny. And it just was so much. You know, I've never done like so much like that to my parents. You know what I'm saying? So I had that mistake, and then I ended up doing it with some friends, and one of the friends that I thought was cool, I used some of the money to take them shopping at the mall, and he ended up telling on me. He was beating on his girlfriend, and I think he caught like his third domestic violence out in Michigan. And, you know, you go to prison for that. And he ended up, for him not to go to jail, giving me up, and it just was so much that I've never thought that I would deal with, or I would take my mom through, and then the jail visits and her crying, and just everything just added up. So, you know, just things like that.
Did you have to face any prison time, or you were able to beat it?
No, back then in our county, you could do 2 years in Barron County back when I caught that case. That was like the early 2000s. So back then you could do 2 years. So I sat over there for all that time with the larceny from a building and a person that went from armed robbery to that, and, you know.
What's your message to the youth, overall speaking?
Just stick to who you want to be. Don't let nobody tell you who you want to be, and like just keep the faith in what you want to do, and just get a good education and stay in school. Cause like the direction of life right now is all about an education. You know where you're going with an education and knowledge of what's going on in America. So I just preach to the kids to just stay in school, like the streets, and like everybody wants to be a rapper, and yeah, it looks good and it sounds cool, but like just stay in school. It's better. That's what's going on. You don't have to deal with all the nonsense.
Let's talk music now. How did you get into rap music?
Oh, I was listening to like, what was I listening? My brother, like I said, he was a heavy gangbanger, so he'd be listening to like Spice One, Sibo, Marvelous, 8 Ball, and all those type of people back then. And I used to listen to him all the time in the shower. He have his little tape deck, and I listened to him in the shower, and I said to myself, I want to rap. So I used to go out and get back then Jay-Z dropped the Reasonable Doubt, but when he dropped the single, I can't remember if it was the one with Meatloaf and it was the song with the instrumentals, but I was going out and I was getting them, and I was getting the Master P ones, and then from then on I like said to myself, oh, I can do this. This is what I like. I enjoy doing this,
What age would you say you got into rap music?
I was probably like 13, 14. I went young.
Now, any influences or inspired by anybody? I mean, you named some rappers there that you were listening to when you got into rap because of your brother, but anybody specifically influence or inspire you to, rap? Or were those names that you provided already the ones?
No, it was like the people that inspired me to rap was like Dr. Dre. It was like Snoop Dogg. I listened to like Tupac all the time. I wasn't really a Biggie fan. And like it was Eminem, and I grew up in that era, the Bone Thugs. I heard a few of their songs, and Master P, that's when he was dragging 20, 30 artists behind him, and I'm listening to the Big Eds and the Mysticals and the Skullduggeries, and and the list go on. So then I was like, man, this just inspired me to and then here comes who? Lil Wayne. Who is this? The kid that's around my age. And that's from then on, that's when I was like, yep, I can do this. This is what I'm going to do.
How many years would you say you've been perfecting your craft for?
The last 13, 14 years. Yeah, the last 13, 14 years.
Do you remember your first rap or what you were rapping about back then?
Back then, oh man, I was like, back then that's when metaphors was hot. Like we in this era now where you can get on the track and you can hum and it'll go platinum. But back then metaphors was hot, so I was writing, like I was listening to Mad Fire, like J.R. Ryder, Fabulous when he first came out, Jadakiss, like people that had bars, and then, like the Loaded Luxes, and then I just went from writing that type of music, battle music, to writing song music, but it was always metaphors. I never even knew how to put a song together.
Have you battled people in real life?
Yeah. I battled somebody when I was growing up before. It was, I ain't gonna name drop no rappers, but it was us and a bunch of rappers in a bedroom when I was growing up, and, they put me up against this kid, and it worked out for me. And, everything was what I thought it would be, but I didn't want to battle. I didn't think about being a battle rapper.
When it comes to the music industry, what bothers you the most about it at this point? What's your biggest pet peeve with it, if anything?
Where should I start? I mean, the whole game is like, it's built off like popularity. It's built off like, if you ain't over here with us, we can't do this, we can't do that, or oh, you need us over here? Oh, we need you to hand us $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, and then we'll start speaking, and things like that. It went from being okay back when Tupac and like Bone Thugs and everything was coming out. It was about talent. You remember, it was about talent then. It was like, these kids hot. We got the money to put behind these kids. They dope. Let's get them popping, y'all. Let's see what we can do. Now it's okay. You hot? Okay. What that mean? You got some money? Oh yeah, I can do this for you. Give me $4,500. Oh yeah, oh I can shoot this for you. Give me 1,500. Give me 25. It's now it went from being, oh I see you working with yourself. You know what? I'll help you. We can do this and we can do that and we can do this. To now it's all about money. So and then who you know. So if you got some money and you know some people, then you'll be in the game.
Who do you blame for that deterioration?
You know what? It's hard to even say who do you blame. I blame hip hop itself. I blame like the culture. Like it went from. I blame like a lot of the bootleg managers. I blame a lot of the major labels from letting it trickle down instead of taking care of artists like they should, and it wouldn't be so many independent artists right now. Like if you pay attention, it was a lot of artists over at Interscope, Def Jam, once upon a time. Now, if you look around, they barely even want to sign somebody because everybody want to be independent because they taking money from you, and it's just so much of a hassle. So some people say, well, you know what? We'll market ourselves. We'll set the budget. We'll get out here and grind and hustle until we make it where we want to make it. We're not going to take nothing from them because we'll owe them more than what we just took. And that's what's really going on in the rap game, so we can't get around it.
Do you see this getting fixed or changing anytime soon?
No, you know what? I see in a minute, it's either Universal, Def Jam, Interscope gonna start giving people millions and billions of dollars, or you know what? I see everybody in this industry going independent. What do we need you for? We got iTunes over here, we got CD Babies, we got all these people that can put you on 35 stores online, and like, what do we need you for now? We got $50,000, $100,000 for marketing and budgeting. So what do we need a label for? You know what I mean? And because that's all they're gonna give us. Then we gonna take their $100,000 and owe them $1 million because that's what they want up front off of the record that I just sold, just for their $100,000 that we just spent on what? Studio time, clothes, video props. So the game right now, all the major labels, if they don't come on, what it's gonna be? The game's gonna be ran by independent artists, and they're gonna have to buy their way back in. And that's just how that's gonna work.
Top 3 things you need in the studio.
Man, I need that rapper weed. I need rapper weed, Don Julio, rapper weed, Don Julio, and just some good beats, man. And then that's it, and I can just get in my zone and just rock out. Like I don't need much. I don't need food. I don't need girls. I don't need people around me. I just need, and you know what? I don't half the time. I don't even need the Don Julio or nothing. It just, you know, I just can vibe and I feel the music even more so. And I get on that rapper weed, and you know, and that's what I go into.
What strain is rapper weed? What strain do you like?
Man, all OGs. Anything OG, like strong OG, like just high THC levels, 26, 28 or above, rapper weed, you know. I don't like all that low grade medical, because where I'm from, you can get a card for medical marijuana and things like that. So I don't like all that low grade. I need some heavy weed that's gonna relax my body, and I'm gonna be real chill and in my zone. And it's real strong and skunky smelling. OG strands.
Craziest studio story, if you have one.
I really don't have, I don't have no studio stories. They always just be normal sessions, just in there just working like normal.
Now you talked about beats. That's something you need in your top 3 necessities. But have you ever received a beat and passed on it and it became a bigger song for somebody else?
Nah, never. Like I always went in, found producers. Like it's so much of who the beat was coming from, and it became a bigger song. Because like you very rarely go against that. Like I said, you can hum on the track now and make a hit. So okay, like it probably wasn't a hit in my head. It probably became a hit to the world. But no, I've never passed on any beats like that. I've never even run against no producers that, you know, put out no fire like that.
What's the realest song you ever wrote so far in your whole catalog of music?
I would say Change How We Live on my Boss Talk album that's on iTunes right now. It's a song called Change How We Live. And I would say that's one of my realest songs. And the reason I say that is because, like, that's what I'm doing this for. Like, I'm doing this for my family and the people that I'm around every day. Like, I'm not doing it for like the cars and the glamour and the fame and the women. Like, I'm doing this to get the money up, to make sure my family and my people and the next generations is okay, you know, and we just don't have to worry. And that song, Change How We Live, it explained everything that I was trying to do, how I feel about my friends, my family, and people around me. And, you know, so I would say that's one of the realest songs.
Risk versus reward. What's the biggest risk you took for your music career so far? Been in it for 13 years, so.
Man, I done took all type of risks. I done took money that I done had and I was supposed to pay bills and other things like that, and threw it into promotion and didn't know how I was gonna get the rent paid. Like I say, I didn't arm rob things to get studio time before. Like, I done had some wild events, man. I done stood on those corners before to get $1, and man, I done did some wild things, man. It's the life you live to reach your goal and the dream, so you gotta take the risk, man. And if you don't take the risk, then what's the reward worth? It ain't worth nothing.
What's the biggest misconception of you?
A lot of people think that I'm cocky, like, because the reason they look at me like that is because, you know, I talk my stuff, you know. I do that. I do my boss talk thing, you know what I'm saying? And I do that in a way of like showing people like I can do this, you know what I'm saying? And I say to myself, I'm not cocky, you know what I'm saying? I'm just confident, so they look at me the wrong way. They're like, man, he just cocky, but it's my lingo, it's the way I talk, it's the way I act. So if you on my level, you can vibe, you know where I'm coming from, you know what I'm saying? But if you beneath me or we're not seeing eye to eye, then you're gonna say I'm cocky. But most people know that I'm just a confident dude, man. When you gotta be confident in this rap industry, when you investing in yourself, like, it's just me and my manager, like, I have no investors but backing me right now. I have no machines right now, you know, so like from the World Stars to the Hip Hop Weeklies to like everything that's going on, like I am the machine. So, you know, so I might be cocky, but to me I'm just confident, so they just take it wrong. Misconception.
Craziest rumor you heard about yourself?
Man. You hear it all. I done heard it all. I done heard that I was trying to, what they say they say I was doing something retarded. I can't remember quite what they were saying I was doing, but you know, people say anything. It probably came down the line, 30 people down the line, you know, something.
But it was false, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's why I can't remember it right now.
Do you care what people think of you?
No, not really. You know, I just care more about what my kids think of me as a dad. You know what I'm saying? And as a father, like, I don't care what people think of me. There's a lot of rappers in my city who don't like me, you know, because I could be here with you right now, and the next minute I'm on the stone in the ghetto, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, people, I don't care what they think about me. They hate. The women hate in my city, all the producers, all the artists. But you know, it is what it is. I'm Rockstar JC, Bossman JC. I am what I am, you know, and I can't be what nobody else want me to be. I mean, I wouldn't be real. I wouldn't be 100% authentic.
Are you the most hated musician in Benton Harbor?
Yes. Yes, I'm the most hated. And I'm the most hated because I'm not stupid. You know, I know what's going on. Now, if I was to be the Dumbo who would just go sign with these cats or just go over here and give my talent and my craft away or my hustle away for free, I'd be the coolest dude rolling, you know? If I was to be that rapper that was standing in front of that local store handing out CDs and begging those people that look over me for profit in this record, then I would be cool. But since I'm that guy who like, you know what, we're gonna sell our records on iTunes. We're gonna make them pay us now, they're gonna pay us double later. You know what, we're not gonna worry about them. We're not gonna follow up behind whoever's in the industry that we know that's moving. We just going attack, and that's what we doing. We just put our things together, got us a budget together, got our marketing scheme up, and we just finna attack right now. You know, that's the eye opener.
How many kids do you have?
I got 4.
Any of them rapping too, or?
No, you know, my son, he might run around the house saying a rhyme or two, because, you know, my son used to record me when I was 3, actually, on Pro Tools. I taught him how to record, use the buttons, and he don't rap, though. He might run through the house, say a rhyme or two. But my daughter, Star, she's 8 years old. You know, I got a daughter that's 9, my son's 8, and I got another daughter that's 8, and I got another daughter that's 4 months. But my daughter that's 8, the smallest one, she always tell me, Daddy, rap for me. I ain't heard you spit no lyrics in a long time. And when I get to rapping, she just break out this big smile. But, you know, other than that, they don't do music. They into school, and my son's a star athlete. You know, he's a running back. He'll run you down. 4 touchdowns out the game. He got 3 of them. You know, he's a baseball player. He's hitting home run at 8. So, you know, I just keep him into that. Not hip hop. This ain't what he need.